Hmm. Not sure if I'm live. There we go, I think. Twitch is being weird. So, apologies if there's anything. Like, I can't even see. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. It was like giving me. It was saying I was live, and then it wasn't showing me that I was live. So. Hey, Zukin. All right. This would probably be better if I said that as the pivot point. So 45. And then this one should be negative 45. Boom. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I messed that up. No? Yeah, no, I did. It's these two. Not the extrusion. Hey, Quixana, how's it going? And Hebrew Hammer, how's it going? Love watching the game being built. Almost feeds the addiction of wanting to be in and playing. Awesome. Bet you guys get some enjoyment out of it. I do not snap it. Probably because I'm just using one. Yep. Okay. So this one was negative 45. Second one was 45. Cool. Hey Justin, how's it going? Going to see what I want. To do here. Honestly, that looks fine. This isn't like anything super important. There's no lore behind this specific spot. I just wanted some kind of point of interest here. And we can just make this go straight up to the... Not bad, cooking some hockey puck pieces of meat I found in the freezer. Pretty sure I have a couple of those in my freezer as well. Let's make that 1, 4, 4. We'll make it 8-sided, I think. Yeah, we'll do 8-sided for this one. One, two, three, four, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's right. Couldn't remember how many. I had originally like thrown this piece in yesterday. Or no. Yeah, no, it would have been yesterday. If only I could keep track of time. Yeah, the day before was Memorial Day. Which hopefully everybody had a nice holiday weekend. Got to do some grilling and what else did I do? Oh, I went for a hike with the kids, which was fun. Found some. Son found a box turtle. We all found some bullfrogs. Son caught one. So yeah, it was fun. And then visited my grandparents' graves. Put some flags on my grandfather's. But other than that, a nice relaxing weekend. Made some ribs and burgers and hot dogs and all of that. Played some EQ on Oak One. Nice. I have so far resisted the temptation. Which I think after missing the double XP weekend, it'll be easier to resist. Spiduncle, thank you for the follow, and Brown Butcher. You're back as Brown Butcher. For a second there, I was like, hold it. Brown Butcher's been here before. Boxing Twitch. Nice. Hey, welcome to chat, Splunkle. Or not. Spadunkle. 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 Yeah, there we go. What am I using here? We are using Unity. And specifically what I'm using in Unity is a plugin called Pro Builder. Hey Nick, how's it going? Thought so. Really good for prototyping before optimizing. Yeah, the plan is we will be taking all this Pro Builder stuff, exporting it out, and some of it will need some optimization. Some of it we might actually be able to use just after converting it into like an OBJ or an FBX. But for the most part, yeah, that's the plan, is to turn them into actual meshes and not Pro Builder meshes to optimize them. Are you making a sundial? That's kind of, I guess, what I was going for, like a sundial or a moon thing. It's not really a lore-specific point of interest. I was just... So, this is actually inside this one cliff face. So, you'll have to find your way there and basically swim up through some caverns, and then I was like, oh, we need some kind of point of interest up here, so I started building this ruin using some of the pieces that I constructed, like these kind of curved pillars. So it could be like a sundial or a, you know, some sort of celestial alignment type of a thing. But if we lean into the lore of it a little bit more, I can always make tweaks and stuff too. But for right now, it's just something to kind of give the camp a little bit more of a visual. Actually, I kind of want to do that, like, at some point having some sort of celestial alignment sundial type thing. I don't know if this will be it, but it would be cool. I don't think this will be it, to be completely honest, just because a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but there is a decent amount of time where the sun would be up and this would not be visible because it'd be getting shadows cast on it. That worked feels pretty killer. Nice. An in-game... I just read that. Do you happen to know what kind of work goes into optimizing? Or is it just importing to Blender, uh, checking faces, exporting? So, yeah, so I've been getting better at just, these aren't perfect. Um, but I've been getting better at just straight optimizing it as I'm modeling it with ProBuilder. This being a exception because I was changing some stuff. Because yeah, this should technically go to there. So it would be more like. Oh, I have another edge. Anyways, if I could only delete edge loops, this would make my life easier. But yeah, no, it's just trying to get the least amount of triangles that are necessary. Some of the stuff has already been optimized, some of it hasn't. I can actually show you an example of one of the pieces that has been exported out. Let's go to my hardware real quick. Sorry, it's gonna take a second to load up the zone. The city zone itself is actually made out of like what's it, 9 different scenes, 10 different scenes. So this right here has actually kind of already gone through the process. It needs some tweaks still. I haven't gone in and actually fixed it. The trim sheet's a little funky in spots. But this essentially came from this piece. This was duplicated off the original one that was here. This one had a little bit more, had a little bit extra in terms of like the windows and stuff cut into it. So there could be like there's like a little apartment kind of thing that's inside here. So it was a little bit more than that, but if I go into wireframe here, actually let's go to shaded wireframe. You can see how, stuff kind of just goes to points. This also has some trims running along it, so there's some extra edge loops in there. But this one just has edge loops kind of running up and down, and you can see each of those get turned into triangles. So just better optimization of mesh flow and stuff like that. From my understanding, and I'm more of an Unreal Engine guy than a Unity guy, ProBuilder is building, like when you build it, it's basically being built by the game engine. I don't know if it's every frame, but it's being like constructed like actively while you're loading, which is not efficient on the actual game. So once we get these converted, at a minimum, like some of this stuff, is ProBuilder, and it's been a little bit better optimized. Some of it still hasn't. Some of the newer stuff I've been trying to keep more optimized than I initially had been, just to make cleaning stuff up. And I've figured out some. Sorry, I'm trying to stretch my back. I figured out some like methods and stuff to use with ProBuilder itself, to help optimize as I'm going. Because some of the tools that you would naturally expect a 3D modeling application to have, it does not have. Like the ability to delete edge loops, which is something that is very much needed when you're optimizing, or just modeling in general. So, yeah. Oh, no problem. Let's actually since I haven't done anything else. Let's run around in here real quick. I need to get better at my posture. My back has been driving me nuts the last couple weeks. I see. What you mean? You're setting it up right. For the gut. It's really nice. Was a first gen MMO. Style, low poly, detail, textures. Yes. Yeah. We're definitely leaning into that. That aesthetic. Why is that being weird? Oh, there we go. And then kind of, you know, modernizing it a little bit, kind of pushing it a little bit beyond what was the classic, but still having, you know, some kind of classic Geo callbacks as well. So you'll get a little bit more in terms of, you know, geometry detail with some of those kind of, you know, odds and ends and stuff that were part of the classic aesthetic. That way it still feels low poly, still feels kind of classic, but then with the slight addition of, you know, more geo here and there, you'll get better shadows and stuff like that as stuff is getting lit. Slash time set 7 a.m. So this is very much still in. Actually, let's. Try to get in here from the actual. Oh yeah, and Nick has been slowly populating some of the areas. Whoop! I have some stuff messed up there. I know exactly how I did that. I bumped the geo, didn't notice it, and then saved. Apparently, oh, this is. I need to figure out how to fix that. The water plane I had working, and then it broke, and it won't let me fix it. So I may have to talk to John. He knows the water system a little bit better. I forgot to fix that. But Nick also played around with the character controllers. Let me turn off fly mode. The character controllers, like at max step height and stuff like that, and kind of got it more to a range that we want. Is that's new. Nick, you still there? I didn't notice this earlier. There's like a slow tick down when you walk off of geometry. I wonder if that does that on a higher up. Oh yeah, that's broken. Do I have levitate on? Nope. Let's try reloading. It's acting like I have fly on, even though I did not have flying on. Hey, John. Yep, apparently gravity broke. Works when you jump, but it does not work when you walk off of stuff. We've been tweaking the character. Oh, there goes gravity. That looks kind of cool, actually. Sets 11 a.m. Yeah, technically, I guess this would work as a sundial. It won't show the entire thing, but at noon it would center on this. So I can sit here for like 3 minutes and watch it. Super riveting. Streaming right there. Or we can just cheat. Oops. There we go. So yeah, that would be 12 currently. Yeah, gravity doesn't kick in until you jump or you walk into something. I'll have to check and see if that's a bug that has already been... I've seen a couple things in our Kanban, but I didn't actually read them yet, so someone may have already mentioned that it is like that. But you were noticing that as well, Zukin? Do you know if there's a bug report on it already? I'm just noticing it now, but I also haven't I haven't run around since last week. So I haven't checked yet. Yeah, it's almost like levitate until you jump or until you bump into something. This feels good though, in terms of like how tight I wanted the area. So there's, you know, little tighter spots or spots here we can put mobs. If you can't fly, you shouldn't be able to jump up here. So you have to walk around, and then I'm, you know, put this little space under here just so there can be more mobs. I was debating potentially making the second level all the way across, or maybe even it ramps up a little bit, but I think I'm just going to keep it like this. I don't think it needs too much more verticality. Let's go back down and check lower areas again. I need to kind of treat these tunnels a little bit. They're just straight tunnels right now. Yeah, it feels decent. Again, I need to kind of come back down and work on these tunnels a little bit. That was my plan after. Yeah, that's working. Even like walking down ramps. Looks like whenever whatever state the FSM is in isn't checking for the ground pull or whatever. Yeah, there's something. Again, we've been making some tweaks and stuff to the character controller, so I'm sure something was changed and is no longer. It was like it's no longer checking when it used to. All right, so let's hop back in and clean up this like central area a little bit. So and again, this is one of those places where normally I would just delete edge loops, but Build Builder is funny, so I gotta do it that way. How likely are you to get evac? Oh, you're talking to Jen. Massive one is still massive. More places evacuated really bad. They banned all wood activities. Oh, that stinks. Have they said if they think they'll have it under control, or is it still just growing out of control? So glad that Nick fixed the max height, because I can actually like do large steps now, which is great. Another thing that I was doing yesterday, so that did not do what I wanted it to. Gary is working on zone line, like a new zone line system that relies on nav mesh, and we found the method that works with the nav mesh that we are working on, or with the system, and I can now block portions of the nav mesh. So I was cleaning up some of that nav mesh stuff for Gary so that the zoning would work a little bit better. Mm. Hey, stranger. Hey, Liz Biscuit. How's it going? Or Liz Biscuit, Liz Kimber. I don't know why I just had a brain fart there reading, but whatever. How are you doing today? Unlikely right now. We're far from them. Well, that's good. But everything is so dry, it wouldn't take much for something to happen here. Prep some bags, just in case. Yeah, I try to keep some bags prepped. I had a storm incident years ago that I needed to, like, uproot. Fairly quickly, so at that point I learned that I should probably just keep stuff like that. So I try to. But hopefully you don't end up having to actually move and evacuate. It's also been fairly dry here for the spring. It was raining a decent amount, but it hasn't rained in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Normally it's like, I don't know, fairly common. Go figure. The when I was like a year or two ago, when me and the kids were doing a lot of skateboarding and wanted to go skateboarding all the time. It was raining all the time, and now that we're out, like, foraging for mushrooms and want it to rain, it's not raining. Do I use anything special with Pro Builder? Nope, just straight out of the box. I've turned on some of, like, I turned on the experimental stuff, but I turned it off right after, because it yells at you that it can cause issues with the project, and I didn't want to cause issues with the project, so I've just been using it straight out of the box for the most part. If there's something like I really, really need, like for instance, this hut over here, here, I didn't open up Pure Ref, before I started streaming, like I should have. No, no. There we go. So yeah, this is what this is going to look like. This is going to be way easier to model in Maya than model with Pro Builder. So right now I just kind of model the scale representation of it. I'm going to export that out, bring it into Maya, and do that. And then we have this little kind of railing shape that we don't have on ladders currently. So I'll do the same thing to that ladder. Although I don't have to export that out because I have that ladder was built in Maya. So true. Same here. Usually rainy. Didn't get any snow either. Yeah, we didn't have a very snowy winter. Which when I'm driving, I don't necessarily complain about. Although I do like snow. I don't know. I have a weird love-hate relationship. It depends if I can snowboard or not. So I'm just gonna kind of go around the outside of these areas and make them a little more finalized. Mushroom forging money. And fortunately, the only really good mushroom that I found this year was past its prime. We found a couple morels, but nothing. Not at a volume of them. I think we only found like 8 or 9. Yeah, not enough that we wanted to like try to find someone to sell them to. Although some people in the mushroom groups that I follow, we're getting some absurd amounts of morels this season. I, however, did not. hopefully things don't get worse for you, dude. Good to be prepared, though. Very good. Thanks. Never watched the weather forecast as much as I have this past while. I bet. Yeah, I saw the Morels. Looked great. Ours were phenomenal fried with some ponzu. I don't know if I think I showed it. Let me see if I can find it. I think I showed it on one of my streams. I don't think I posted it in Discord. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Breakout window. This was the best one I found, but it was super dried out and it was starting to get, it was moldy. The backside of it's moldy too. And then there was a bunch of bugs climbing around inside of it, but I'd never found one that big. I found another one right by it that was probably, I don't know, the cap was maybe 2/3, and then the stock wasn't nearly as impressive as this one. But this one was like, I don't think I have a picture of it. It was like almost 2 monster cans. I was walking around with a monster can on my hike, and it was almost 2 monster cans in height. But again, it's been so dry. This was right around when it stopped the last time it rained. Everything was just drying out, and now I can't find any of them. Which usually in this area you can kind of still find some around now. Is my mic... Hold on. Let me see. Is the mic not picking up? No. It might be my voice, because my allergies have been acting up lately. My voice feels a little raspy, and has for the last, like, week or so. Let's see. Oops. Nope. Noise suppression should still be on. I have a feeling it's probably me. But I don't know. Sometimes I have sound issues, and I still don't know why Streamlabs messed up my sound stuff. I'm sure my sound stuff is going to get messed up again. I'm hoping by next week to switch from Streamlabs to OBS with some of the stuff that Zukin sent over for me. I just have to actually sit down and get it working. There we go. And also, Zenfart, Far TV, or is it Zenfart V? Welcome to chat. Sounds okay. Everything has been super quiet since I upgraded to Windows 11. But you're relatively fine. All right, good. Yeah, like I said, I'll let you guys know when I've actually switched everything over. But I have a sneaking suspicion sound issues might pop up for the first stream or two. Sorry. Again, the allergies and the congestion sometimes make it a little bit harder to enunciate. Everything's a-okay for me. Not too quiet. I have Twitch set at 70 or 20% volume. Nice. I don't know why I started reading 70%. Heard you'll be starting to get some terrain textures in the works too. Sounds fine. Yeah, we want to start doing some tests with some textures. I'd sent over a trim sheet that we're using currently, but it needs like a legit hand paint. It needs to be painted over because some of it's not the style we're using. So we will need to get some of that stuff worked out, and then we can start slapping some textures on. But we also need to figure out, like, we need to probably do a plan of, like, where do we want the texture first. Like, we can do a small section in Night Harbor, or we could... Honestly, I think probably the best place to start would be Wormsbane's, since Wormsbane's... But the problem with Wormsbane is it's so... It's dark, so you don't necessarily get the payoff of, like, is the style working? Is this working? But yeah, that's gonna be one of the focuses. Focuses! Oh my gosh. Keep, like, losing strength in my voice when I'm trying to project. Which normally projecting is not an issue for me. But again, allergies. Fun times. Which, like, here, I'm sure it's gonna continue this, but, like, the cottonwood is starting to fall, and that always messes with me too. Like, my bathroom screen is all whatchamacallit, coated in lovely blobs of cotton right now. But it hasn't been as bad as some years. Some years it literally looks like it was snowing. Grass will be all coated in little fluffy cotton things. Nope, that's not right. That does. Don't worry, probably just mine. But like I said, if anybody ever has, like, some weird sound things, just let me know. Because there's there definitely have been times where it's been my settings have gotten messed up for whatever reason. Brain. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to hit that. All right. Yeah, I gotta be careful because, like, there's an interior to this, so I need to give it enough distance that I can, I'm not bumping into stuff. But I also want shape a little bit. There we go. That's better. Shape to read a little bit more like rocks. It's like a 3D jigsaw puzzle. I still love the those Puzz 3D foam 3D puzzles when I was a kid. Eventually, I'm gonna have to kind of do this type of treatment to all the edges. I'm gonna leave that for now. 'Cause I don't know how, like, so this, which is representing where the mountain's gonna be, is probably gonna be higher. It's probably going to be more like that, and then these might be higher. I don't know. It's gonna depend on how the city turns out, to be honest. Because I don't want to make it too high where it's just going to be like just absolutely massive. I want it to be decent size, but I want a lot of the stuff to happen underneath it. I don't want to have to like spider all of these like multiple levels together. So I'll probably just leave it like this for now, and then fine tune that when we get there. Every dungeon master wants massive maps. They just don't want to draw them. I think that is fairly accurate. It's a lot of work. Okay, so you get that kind of overhanging feel. And like I mentioned on one of my other recent streams, try to that is sticking through the wall. There we go. Try to break up the straight lines and spots too, so that it just looks more organic. Sorry, had to take a phone call. Did you already answer me about the texturing work? Oh, yeah, I did. Patrick is, I think, going to do some paint overs of some of the textures we've been doing, and Goblin kind of designed some trims and stuff like that, so we need to get them worked into some trim sheets. Oops, that was not what I wanted. No, stop. I keep hitting the same button. I want to hit W and I'm hitting 2. So I was hoping. Um, I had two instead I hit two instead of W a lot. There's a magnet pool. Yeah. But normally I'm pretty good on this keyboard at not doing it, but work, um, like some students will work on their own laptops. Some students will work on like the computer lab PCs. I work on, for the most part, unless I'm doing a demo, I work on my work laptop. Um, and just jumping between all of those different like keyboards, my muscle memory gets like completely screwed up, and I just keep hitting the same like mistake over and over again as I'm like trying to help a student out, and I'm like, ugh. Yes, I just made that exact same typo like 3 times in a 5-minute span, which is always fun. I swear I know how to use a keyboard. Um, Oops, awesome. Thanks for saying it. Oh, no problem. Not an issue. Let's see. My personal fave, stupidity, is to close the window, not minimize it, and then wandering and realizing I did it yet again. I haven't done it in a while. But I jinxed myself now. Oh, that's it. Uh, Good call. Oh, yeah, there's one that I did. Um, what was it? There was something I left open in the background like recently. And recently, I mean like a couple months ago, and popped back in. And was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. This has been sitting there the entire time. Um, I feel like it was. On was it Discord? Maybe was it Slack? I don't remember. There was something that like I forgot was going, and I think people were talking on it, and um, eventually I was like, what? Where's all this noise? Oh, I think I was sitting in a Slack channel and no one was talking, um, and I had the little music stuff turned off. Because if you haven't used Slack, if you're in a stream for a while, um, it starts playing like elevator music. Um, And then, like, noise started coming out of my speakers, and I was like, what? Because someone started talking. I feel like that was what it was. It'd be better if I actually remembered 100%, or like with 100% surety of what that story was. But I definitely remember it was people talking. So yeah, it had to have been Slack. I haven't been in really any Discord chats. I'd use voice. In a while. Hey, Belfaster. Oh, no. Beanie. I almost forgot where my emotes were on my stream deck because I haven't used them in forever. We're getting out of beanie season though, which makes me sad. Although indoors I can wear a beanie all I want. I just turn the AC on. Outside, not so much. I played some game I sucked at, and I was streaming about being bad, and I was streaming. Oh my God, I can't read. It was bad. I was streaming about being bad at it, and I hadn't realized the game came with some in-game chat thing, and suddenly this voice was speaking to me. I swear to my soul, I've done that. Where you don't realize the game is proximity voice, and you start talking out loud, and then someone like responds to you, and you're just like, oh my God. Didn't realize people were hearing me vocalize that. Like, I know New World had it, but I don't think I had it turned on. I'm trying to think what game it was. It's within the last year or so, or maybe no, maybe the last year and a half, 2 years now. Maybe it was New World, but yeah, it's one of those ones where you're just like, oh my God, you want to shrink away and laugh at the same time. I just feel like I want. Let's try going the other way. It didn't really make much of a difference. Will make a difference though. This. Of course, I do that, and then I'm like, you know what? I do want an extra edge loop through here, so. Do that. Let's try to clean this up a little bit. Just put some ice in your beanie for the summer. I don't know if I've tried ice. I've definitely, like, poured water in a beanie before in the summer. But I just, like, naturally run really warm, so I start melting when it's over 75, which it is here currently. It's like 80 degrees today. But I do love beanies. And normally I used to, like, my hairline's definitely thinning out. So nowadays I'll just wear like a baseball cap or something during the summer. But more so because if I don't, my head will burn. I think I'm gonna need another edge loop here. This is not doing what I want it to do. And I also want to get rid of these edge loops. Maybe. My embarrassment factor was in a work meeting though. I was on mute. Dogs were making a heck of a lot of noise at the postman. So I yelled, "Shut the F up." I wasn't on mute. And everyone started laughing. My face was hotter than the sun, thankfully. Work from home. I haven't had to see them in a while, so hopefully they forget. I luckily have yet to have that happen during work from home. Or I didn't have that happen during work from home. I should say, because we've been back in person teaching for over a year now. Yeah, it has been over a year, because it'll be 2 years. In spring. Yeah, we've been back in the classroom. Which is really crazy that much time has gone by. Hold on. Yeah, important people sigh. Oh. All right. Think good. Let's... Now that I'm flying around in here again, I don't like it from this angle. trying to make it so you can't climb up it. I'm just afraid that angle there might cause some issues. Granted, I have overhangs on all these cliffs. It's kind of been a consistent thing I've been doing on all of them, so you shouldn't be able to get out of them, but just in case. Okay, so we've got that. Let's start diving into our tunnels here. Sorry, those were super jerky camera moves. So I'm gonna do some of those little step ups. So I can click on the correct edge loop. I'll probably end up doing this to the ceilings too, but when populating mobs in dungeons, is there a consideration to having some small areas be relatively safe? And by safe, I mean no roamers, pathers there, so you can safely log out. I recall learning those spots in EverQuest was fun. They weren't super obvious. You had to pay attention. I don't actually do the population. Occasionally I'll move some NPCs around, but that's usually when I have entombed them. So if I know like where something is spawned, here, I actually can bring up the zone panel for you guys. So if I load the spawns, this shouldn't take too long, 'cause there's not many in here. Although Unity could just make a liar out of me too. Either way. Unity's really making a liar out of me. I don't think there was that much going on in the zone. But to kind of continue on with answering the question, I personally am not like placing the mobs. I kind of think about that. I try to like give little areas where you could do something along those lines. But Nick, Sean, and Luna are the ones who generally are populating the world. I think Nick has been adding the spawns in here. Unity's wait things do seem epic these days. Yeah, this one is taking forever. There's not that many spawns in here either. If this goes beyond 2 minutes, I'm just gonna cancel it if I can. I did. I made sure to save before I did it. Yep, I'm locked up, I think. guess we're gonna task manager. Oh, there it goes. Yes, it really helps to have the need bio spot. Yeah, I want to say I guarantee that Nick is thinking about those like spots and where those situations and stuff will be when he's placing the mobs, but that would be more of a question for him, since he's the one who's actually like populating the zone. Come on, Pro Builder. Right. Probably just... There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the sky, so I'm gonna deselect it. I think I'll leave these as stairs. This one I'm gonna do as a kind of an angled. Like so. Do the same to this. Just on the opposing side. Yeah, I think that works. Let's see. The reason I asked was I figured the monster's location was closely tied to the level design. So what we've been doing in the past is, for instance, Wormsbane. We had a write-up kind of that talked about the individual areas, or like what the overall idea and theme of the dungeon was. And Ham was the one who had come up with that. And then I read through it and was like, and got just, it was one of those like, ooh, this is awesome, like super inspiring. So I just, in a weekend, kind of like did a very quick take on Wormsbane. So let's hop over to Wormsbane real quick. So I had done kind of this initial area minus these 3 rooms and minus this room down here. And I think minus this room. Maybe not. I think I can't remember. I think this room might have been here. I don't think the second part was. Anyways, no, those rooms were there. These weren't. This wasn't, and this little wing wasn't. And yeah, so there was basically an entrance described in that, and then this kind of crossroads antechamber room. And it just said that one way went to a chapel and one way went to an ossuary. And that was it. And then it said that there was an elite tomb area, but it didn't say how it was connected or where it was connected to. So I just kind of took that and ran with it. Did the chapel, did this little kind of room off of here, did the ossuary, and these first 2 rooms, and then it was hooked up to the elite tomb down here, which was just these green hallways, this blue hallway, this green hallway, and then it went straight into this room. Trying to remember. I think these just hit dead ends, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. Since it was in that state. But so we did that. Nick went through, populated it. We play tested it a bunch. We decided we wanted this room here to be larger. So it was 1 story at one point. So I moved the ceiling up, and then added these little side areas that kind of go back here and adds more playable space. And part of the reasons that we kept adding these little wings and stuff was as we play tested, we found we needed more mob density to kind of support being able to group in certain areas. And we just wanted to kind of add to the zone itself. And when I worked on expanding that area out and I knew I wanted to link, I was like, okay, well, I'll link this up to these sides. I threw in these little kind of mirrored wings on the sides. Again, just to kind of increase the overall population in this area down here. During Friends and Family, we decided, Nick decided we had a named right here, but he wanted to kind of push the name further back. So we added a couple more rooms to kind of make this more, of a camp in itself, as opposed to just the couple rooms here really being tied over to this spot, which is one of those kind of campable areas in the game. And then I also wanted to add a little bit, like there was a lot of just unused space beneath it. So I linked this area and this area up, not only in the antechamber room, but kind of through this little tunnel network. It's a little maze-like underneath it. And then added in another like point of interest room inside of it as well. And then we had talked about, we haven't actually developed this area out. It's still super, super rough. But we want to, eventually, once we have sewers underneath the city, there's going to be sewers that lead into the cavern here. And then the cavern will be hooked up to the tomb through a secret passage, which is right now not secret because the door isn't there to hide it. But I guess part of it is still secret. You can't really see the invisible wall to get there if you're in the cavern. But this cavern area will be themed out and made to look a little bit more caverny. Right now it's really straight walls and stuff like that. And then this area actually will lead into deep dunes. So if I turn the lighting back on, you can start seeing some of the glowy mushrooms to indicate that you're getting close to deep dunes. But so it's been kind of like an iterative process. We do like a pass on it. We figure out, is this kind of working the way we want it to? Do we want to expand out? This originally was going to be a very small zone, but the zone turned out pretty well. And like I said, we kind of expanded upon it. So it's gotten more life as we've gone along. Another question for mob pathing. When mobs come to a tree or a rock, is there an ability to have them walk around the item rather than them walking up to the tree like an EQ? Or is that more complicated? The actual pathing itself is not something that I deal with. That's an elite question. But what I do with the navigation is I bake the nav meshes. So you can see these little blue paths. These are the areas that the mob can technically walk. And then I can also, like, I just actually made these. So I can, like, drop in volumes now and be like, okay, mobs can no longer ever make it to the exit. Because I just cut the exit off, essentially. So we can do some things like that, and I have to do some tweaks. So, like, for a while, this actually broke, and they weren't able to run across here, so they would run up to here, and then they would just stop. So I had to tweak the settings and tweak the little bridge of doom a little bit to get it to work properly. But for trees and stuff, they should go around the tree. But if they're not, that's more of a pathing. Again, like, that's AI logic and pathing, and like, how does the mob actually handle how it's traversing. And it's been something we've been working on as well, because there's been issues. I don't know if they're still there, but there was ones where, like, at one point, like, if the puller got out of line of sight, the mob would just get stuck. Which I'm pretty sure we fixed that at this point. There was also ones where, like, you could go around a corner and, like, hide in the corner, and it would just get stuck, and it wouldn't be able to attack you. So there's all sorts of little just logic things that you kind of have to work out. But that's not my department. I just give it the area to run. I think they said they were using Namesh, so as long as they mark trees, it should be able to move around. Yeah, exactly. We have, like, if I hop into Night Harbor again, and I turn the lights back on, and I load the zone files. Actually, even without the zone files, you can see where, like, there's a tree here. You can, because I have the nav mesh on, and the nav mesh is in the full scene. You can literally see that the tree cuts out. So if I go to totally just spaced on what I was doing. Here, and I load the scene. It's going to take a minute. But you'll see that it's there. Yeah, so see, there's the tree. There's some rocks. You can see that it won't like try to walk through the tree. It'll have to walk around it. That's a huge dungeon. Oh, that's not a dungeon. Oh no, that was Wormsbane. Sorry, working and not paying attention. Oh, so you can already answer that. So yeah, the actual dungeon entrance, for anybody who has never seen it before, is over here. So if you go through this little crack. That's the entrance to Wormsbane. That dungeon area reminds me of a combination of Kithakor and Old Se. Nice. Can go there at level 2 if you're sturdy. Yeah. Yeah, we wanted it to be a low level dungeon. Originally we wanted it to be a level 1 dungeon. It's gotten a little bit more than a level 1 group can handle. So basically you want to get for that first level out in the newbie yard, and then you can go in there. But again, it's rough at level 2. It's probably safer if you have a couple level 3s. Level 4 is a pretty big level because the healers get their class specific heal at level 4. Very cool to hear and see the process on the dungeon expansion, and how it's changed along the way. Yeah, it's one of the ones you probably could go back also and look through some of the VODs if anybody is new. If you go through the art, like specifically my streams, starting probably a year ago in March is when I think the first reveal of Wormsbane was, and I think that I might have actually made a thumbnail for that one and made it clickbaity, so it might be like Wormsbane dungeon reveal or something like that. Yeah, you can actually see the process as it develops. And I frequently am working on it in some of those old ones. Oh no, I joined just in time to see that bridge again. Oh, the Bridge of Doom. That bridge killed way more people than I was expecting it to during the stress test. Is there a teleport on your head solution? In when mobs get stuck for too long. Yeah. So if you are let me hop back. Well, let's say I'm in Wormsbane, because Wormsbane has a similar dragon head in it. If you were, there's an area, and it used to be a problem because I forgot to turn this to static, so we flag it as static and it gets baked into the nav mesh. I'd forgotten to make the Wormsbane one static, so there wasn't a nav mesh on top of it, and players were able to jump from the balconies on the side onto the head, and then if they were a range class, they could just nuke down the named and stuff like that without any problem. When it's baked in, though, if the players try to do that again and the mob can't get you, it'll just warp back up and make the jump to get there. So if it's down below, it'll pop up to get you, or it'll jump over. So there's no way of kind of like cheesing it with the geometry, as long as the mob is able to get to the nav map. And I'm getting hiccups for whatever reason. Or if you get far, do they temporarily forget their aggroed players unless they get close again? No, we don't have any leashing. They'll follow you to the zone line. Anything that did that during stress tests, which I don't know if that was a problem. I know the guards weren't aggroing, but there was some, just because of some of the lag, they weren't pathing correctly or aggroing and killing stuff. But for the most part, yeah, they should follow you until you're dead or they're dead or you hit the zone line. Or you feign death. That's another way to get out of aggro. I hope mobs don't have summoning. I'd rather them be unsnared and barred move speed than summon players. Currently, we don't have summoning. I'm not exact. Honestly, I don't remember what our stance is on if we want to do summoning or not. Personally, I'm not opposed to it. Obviously, as a ranger, I would love it if it didn't. But from a balance standpoint, I understand why summoning was there. For certain things, so I can see pros and cons to having it both either way. Too much EQ influence to not have summoning. It's disorienting though, and interrupts spell casting was lame. Oh, and that's part of the reason was so that spellcasters and rangers and stuff couldn't. They weren't just able to solo everything. Because I know as like a ranger, I would have been able to solo tons of named and stuff that I wasn't able to if I had just been able to run around with a bow and slowly whittle them down. That summon completely negates your ability to do that. And interrupting the cast is part of it too. The disorientation of it is definitely annoying at times. But you know, spin stun is similar too. Especially if you're pulling like mobs that proc or cast a spin stun. Like the goblins and Durga. Although if you know like how many rotations you do, it's not that bad. You just have to anticipate it when you're pulling. I speak from the pulling part just because I played Rangers and that's generally what I do. So like I make sure I'm facing a certain direction. If I know if I cast on something and it makes one full spin, I'll shoot an arrow and I'll turn around and I'll stop and I'll wait until the spin stun hits me and I'll wait for the full circle and I'll just run straight. If it's like 1.5 turn, so like a 540-degree spin, I would shoot and make sure that I'm facing at it, wait to see if it lands. If it lands, it'll spin me around and make me run the direction that I want to go. So it's just kind of like that kind of stuff. Granted, you know, summon's a little different, but you still have to, if you know where you're going to be facing from being summoned, you can kind of negate that to some degree. Yep, that's why enchanters don't charm the summoning mobs. Yeah, that also is another quick way to die. Not that I ever played enchanters, but I've seen plenty of enchanters that summoned things that they shouldn't have and get lit up, or mez'd something and it mez broke and they got summoned to death. Let's see. I've always played first person in EQ and fell off the bridge in Crossbone, and my friends had to persuade me to go to third person view. Couldn't work out how to swim, died. Much swearing. I remember my first experience swimming in EverQuest. I was in Crushbone, and I think I was trying to solo like an orc centurion, and it wasn't going well. And I was like, well, I'll jump in the water. Orcs can't swim. Jumped into the water. I don't know why I just assumed orcs can't swim. And I quite quickly learned that swimming skill was a thing, and that the orcs' swimming skill was much higher than mine. um, so that was fun. I think I died in one of the little like water tunnels or right by it, because I remember it being a slight pain in the ass to get my corpse. Um, but that was also, I think, before they updated the cameras, so like the third person camera was still like the P99 version where it's like locked and you can't scroll. What if people cheese it and have it running the long way around if players can get up and down, and if the mob takes the scenic route? I mean, there's always that kind of thing. I mean, I remember in EQ, necros used to do that kind of stuff with their pets. Pet and feign death. And it would just like ping pong back and forth between the two. Dot it up, let it melt while the mob is running back and forth. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, not even fear kiting, Liz. I remember watching a necro friend in MPG would pull a mob, get their pet aggroed on it, tell their pet to stay, throw a ton of dots on it, on the mob, run off, and then would feign death when the mob got close to them. It would turn and walk back towards their pet, and then they'd pop back up, and they would just like reset the mob by getting up and down out of feign death. I'm not exactly sure how the mechanic worked and what exactly they were like doing button wise, but that was definitely what they were doing. Because it would go to the mob, they'd feign death, or when it got to them, they'd feign death, they'd start walking back to their pet, then they'd stand back up, and it would go back to them. So that kind of stuff has been around. And to a degree, I think I was even able to do that a little bit on a ranger when I was bow kiting. But we also have like areas so let's say you were like, you kited the mob up to here and then you jumped off the side. We have it baked so like the mob will jump off at certain points. Although it isn't everywhere, so like I had it originally where it could drop down here. It caused issues in the city itself though, because like I think Sean had a NPC here that like walks down to the tavern, and because he just followed the path of least resistance was jumping, so he would just be like, all right, I'm done with work. And he would just start jumping off every wall to walk to work, and instead of like following the path. So it was kind of humorous to watch, but some of that stuff we had to take out. EQ's third-person camera was painful experience. Yeah, when I started, it was definitely a painful experience. The WoW third person is about as good as it gets. Yeah, you need. I really am a big fan of the more modern, like being able to scroll in and out. I did play a bunch of EQ when I first started playing in first person, but eventually I got into third person camera or scrolling in and out, depending as I search scrolling in and out, depending on what I'm doing. Let's not save that. Let's go back here. Oops. And let's actually, we're talking about pathing and stuff like that, so let's bake this. So, yeah. You can see that, you know, even up here has nav mesh, but it will be able to, they'll be able to jump down if for some reason they're up there. So yeah, if you were to jump off of here, the mob could follow you down. It'll just be whatever the AI chooses. Does it want to follow you down, or does it want to go around the end? Is there a value in coding the monster pathing to fix it in all environments? Or will there be some manual cleanup needed for each zone, and it's not worth trying to future-proof the pathing? I think in EQ, the horizontal aggro was super janky at times. That is an Ali question. I don't touch the actual like logic for the AI pathing. And AI is one of the things that, like, in Unreal, I'm not super great at either. I don't do a lot of AI programming. I can do a little bit. I can do, like, basic follow-to and stuff like that, and attacks and stuff like that. But I don't... My AI ability would not be... I'm not that good at AI programming. So, yeah, that's an Ali question. I'm sure there are some values, and you know, you can set like functions to like check different things and stuff like that. Can you tell me more about the nav mesh process and the workflow for it? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I just did. So, right here I've got the nav mesh. So you have an agent. You can kind of pick the scale of it and everything. Set the slope, set the radius and all of that. So the max radius they can climb is 60. You know, right now I have it set to half a meter, which is actually a little thinner than some, like the human character. And then the height is a little bit shorter than the humans as well. And then yeah, you just hit and then the step height, like how high they can step up potentially. So the AI naturally I have set a little bit higher than the players can step, just so that things can work a little bit easier. But yeah, after that, you just go to bake. You can go to the advanced stuff and bake a height map as well, which I am. I don't have it tiled on. It's this pink one. Which from my understanding is used for like IK animations more than anything else. But Ergenstaff asked me to start baking those, so I did. But yeah, then you just hit bake, and it takes a couple seconds for this map. Night Harbor takes like a minute because it's so large. But yeah, it bakes based on the things you set. So right now I have it set that it can bake. It'll bake drop points at 8 meters. It'll set jump points to 6 meters. So like, if you run and you jump over here, the mobs will be able to jump. They can follow you right here as well. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah, right here. If I turned this to like 20, this whole thing on this next bake should have paths that, yeah, you can see they can just jump back and forth. Which is not what I want. So I'm gonna rebake it to this. So yeah, they can. This is you're able to jump from here to here, so it needs to have enough that the mob can follow you essentially, without trying to, go the long way. But yeah, that's essentially the process. And then if there's areas where something isn't supposed to be, we have these volumes that we can drop in to basically say, no, we don't want it to bake nav mesh there. So let me look under here. Yeah, so like under here it doesn't have has a nav mesh, but we don't necessarily want stuff going down there, so I would just bring this down here and then scale this to kind of erase that. Unfortunately, the nice way of scaling stuff does not work. So it's this kind of annoying method to scale it, but and then I would duplicate that and move that over there. Actually, let me put this in in a empty parent so that I can just duplicate this and keep it all together. So yeah, that's essentially the process behind it. You know, this might not have actually caused issues, but there have been some weird, funky things that we've run into, and the new system that Gary is working on for zoning relies on the nav mesh and was causing issues when there was interior nav meshes along walls in shaded dunes. So we figured out a way to block them, and there is other ways, but there's a bunch of different like systems and stuff in Unity that you can use to bake pathing. So we just had to find the right one for the method we were using, and that worked. So, which is awesome, because I was kind of annoyed that the method that I was thinking would work, which is AI, or no, navigation, yeah. The mesh obstacles work. The volumes don't work. The nav mesh modifier, because that's what nav mesh modifiers are what Unreal uses. But they don't work with the system we're using. The AQ camera did give a lot of flexibility for people who like to take screenshots. Yeah, it did. With just hit F9 and it kind of snaps you to the different ones. That was a nice part of it. Unity and Mesh, there's a bunch of videos you can watch. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff out there. That's cool. I thought it was all flat surfaces. Didn't know you could add arrows like that to go up and down. Yeah, you can also do. I don't know if I know one of the previous ones we had used that system. I don't know if one we're using which one it uses. But you can do mesh links and stuff like that as well too. And then vertical aggro, not horizontal. Stuff like lower guck where you could column over other areas. Very cool. Awesome. Mobs falling off bridges, bridging half the zone. Yep, there's definitely places that someone can jump down and bring mobs with them. Actually, I probably should increase that for that area to drop down. There we go. It might be too much. We'll have to see one. We'll have to see how it plays. I don't want to necessarily bring it the entire area. Although this area should be... I may have to fix this a little bit. Players can jump here, but the mesh isn't linking like I wanted it to. Yeah, I'll have to play around with that. I may have to just reorient that. Because the mob's not going to be able to follow you. Alright. But I think we're at the end of my stream time, guys. So let's save this. Got a decent amount done. I think I still need to finish a couple little things in this room. Yeah. In that room, and then should be good. Cool. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. For anybody who's new and not aware of what I've been working on for the last 2 hours, we are making a game called Monsters and Memories. It is an indie MMORPG that's very influenced by the classic first generation of MMOs. Think EverQuest, Ultima Online, Dark Age of Camelot, that era of the genre. That link is to our website. So feel free to hop in there. If you have any questions, feel free to hop into Discord. There's like almost 4,000 of you in there at this point. Really big community. All the developers are in there. So there's always someone there to kind of answer some questions. Any specific questions, us developers are pretty good at answering. Especially if you tag any of us. We're usually pretty good at responding. We also have a mailing list. Hey, Patrick. So if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, that's a great place to do that. Speaking of which, I need to get my stuff ready for the monthly update letter. So I'll be doing that in a little bit. Other than that, these are everybody on the team that is currently streaming. If you haven't already followed their channels, I highly recommend it. We all kind of stream our individual aspects of the game. My streams are generally level design and environment art focused. Sometimes some shader work or something like that. Eventually I'll be doing post-processing and stuff in here as well. So yeah. We also have, and I'm totally just blanked on my... I've only done this 117 times. I think I would be a little more efficient at it, but no, that's not how we roll on this stream. Anyways, we have a YouTube channel. If you want to get caught up on any of the past VODs, we upload the VODs there. If you are on YouTube, please remember, like, subscribe, comment below, click the bell, all that fun stuff. All the more engagement we get with those metrics, the more likely the YouTube algorithm is to suggest M&M content to everybody. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. Thank you very much. That is actually probably the best way right now that you can help support the project. We aren't doing a Kickstarter or anything like that at the moment. And there's no way to pledge or anything like that. So, helping us grow the game, if you have word of mouth and stuff like that, goes a long way. So thank you everybody who's been helping us out with that. If you are on YouTube also and you'd like to participate in my live chats, there should be a link to my Twitch channel, Paytas the Ranger, somewhere in the description. If you click on the link and then follow the channel, you'll get a notification whenever I go live. You can also opt into Discord's notifications, and you'll get a notification whenever anybody on the team goes live, if you opted into the streaming notification. Also, my stream times are Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, thank you again, everybody, for hanging out. especially my subscribers. You guys rock. Your generosity is always appreciated. Other than that, guys, that is it for me today. I will catch you guys on Friday. Have a great afternoon. Later.